All right, let's dive right into the Corsair K70 Max RGB. And look, this isn't going to be your standard keyboard review. No, think of this more like a masterclass. We're going to make sure you walk away knowing every single critical detail about this piece of gear, because honestly, it's super powerful, but also super misunderstood. So let's just start with something kind of crazy, a statement that really gets right to the heart of this keyboard's biggest secret. Here it is. The truth is, that brand new, shiny $230 keyboard you just bought, it's basically a paperweight the second you plug it in. I'm serious. Unless you know exactly what you're doing in the settings. And that's what we're here for, to make sure you actually unlock all that power you paid for. Okay, so here's the game plan for today. We're gonna start with that big secret, then get into the hardware. We'll look at the magic inside the switches, figure out how to tame the software beast, and then help you decide if this thing is even right for you. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with a quick summary at the end. All right, let's jump right in. Section 1, the $230 secret. This is where we pull back the curtain and show you why this keyboard is so misunderstood and why its real power is just completely hidden if you don't know where to look. So here's the deal. The main problem is that people think they're buying a mechanical keyboard, but you're not. What you've actually got is a super high-precision analog controller that just looks like a keyboard. And from what we've seen, something like 90% of owners are completely leaving its most powerful gaming features turned off. We're talking about settings that give you such a huge competitive edge, it almost feels like you're cheating. Okay, so the biggest mistake people make, hands down, is treating this like any other keyboard. You know, you unbox it, you plug it in, the pretty lights come on, and you think, all right, I'm ready to game. Nope, that is a massive, massive mistake. You absolutely have to get into the software, you need to update the firmware right away, and you've got to know about some potential hardware issues from the first batches. Don't worry, we'll get to how you can spot those a little later. So, to recap this section, the key takeaway is that knowing about these hidden features is the difference between wasting your money and having a legit competitive weapon on your desk. Seriously, it's like buying a Lamborghini and then just never taking it out of first gear. What's the point? Okay, let's move on and talk about the hardware. You know, the actual physical thing you're going to be touching for hours and hours every single day. So yeah, the build quality, both the good and the bad, is super important. And this slide just says it all, doesn't it? This is marketing versus reality, right here. On the left, you've got that slick, clean, perfect product shot. And on the right, that's what it looks like after just a few days on your desk. Look, that brushed aluminum frame is super tough, don't get me wrong. But my gosh, it is an absolute magnet for dust and fingerprints. If you eat at your desk, just forget about it. It's gonna look like a crime scene within a week. So let's break it down, the good and the bad. On the plus side, the hits are pretty big. You've got that super durable aluminum frame, the keycaps are thick PBT plastic so they won't get all shiny and gross over time, and there's new foam inside to dampen the sound. But the misses are kind of annoying. For some reason, the spacebar has this weird, different texture. The USB-C cable they give you is just stiff and ugly. And honestly, the whole design of the frame is starting to look a little old. And here's another common mistake you'll want to avoid. People see dual-layer sound dampening on the box, and they immediately think they're gonna get that deep, creamy, thocky sound you hear from all the custom keyboard builders. Yeah, that's not what's happening here. The foam in this thing is purely functional. Its only job is to get rid of that annoying metallic ping that older K70s had. This is built to be a tool, not a custom keyboard enthusiast's dream. So the quick recap for the hardware is this. It's premium, it's practical, but it's got some flaws you can't ignore. It's definitely built like a tank, but just be ready for it to be a dust magnet, and you're almost certainly going to want to buy a new cable. All right, now we're getting to the main event, the absolute core of this keyboard. This is the whole reason it exists, the reason it costs so much money. We're talking about the Corsair MGX magnetic switches. And trust me, this is where things get really, really cool. So first, we need to understand a super important term, actuation point. So what is it? Simply put, it's how far down you have to press a key before the computer registers it. On a normal keyboard, that distance is totally fixed. But on the K70 Max, because it uses these magnetic switches, you can change it. For every single key, you can set it to be a really deep press, like 3.6 millimeters, or you can make it an insane hair trigger at just 0.4 millimeters. So to give you a real-world example, think about a game like Valorant or CS2. You can go into the software and set your WSD keys to that absolute minimum, that 0.4 millimeters. What does that do? It means you can do things like counter-strafing almost instantly. Like, the key registers the second your brain tells your finger to move. And in a high-stakes duel, that tiny fraction of a second is literally the difference between winning and losing the round. Okay, now listen up, because this is a huge, critical mistake you need to avoid. Whatever you do not skip the manual calibration in the iCUE software. Seriously. There was a firmware update recently, and it seems like on some boards, the RGB lights are actually interfering with the magnetic sensors. If you don't calibrate it, what can happen is your W key might stay pressed for a split second after you let go, which means your character just keeps walking forward, right out into the open. In a competitive game, that's a death sentence. It's a game-losing bug if you don't fix it. So, quick recap on the switches: that adjustable actuation and the rapid trigger feature give you a massive competitive advantage. And by the way, rapid trigger is the feature that lets a key reset the very instant you start to lift your finger, which means you can tap keys insanely fast. But, and this is a big but, both of these amazing features need you to go in and set them up carefully. They are not plug and play if you want to get all that performance you paid for. All right, let's talk about what is probably the biggest hurdle for this keyboard: the software. We're going to talk about how to tame Corsair's iCUE software and also cut through some of the marketing hype. Because you've got all this amazing hardware, right? But you've got to fight the software a little bit to really make it shine. So here is the pro gamer move, the best way to handle this. We call it the set it and forget it method. See, Corsair's iCUE software can be a real resource hog, slowing down your PC. So here's what you do. Install it, spend maybe an hour getting everything perfect, your actuation points, your lighting, your rapid trigger. Then you save all those settings directly to the keyboard's own memory. It's got 8 megs of storage, which is enough for like 50 profiles. Once that's done, you just uninstall iCUE completely. Get it off your system. And please, here's another common mistake. Do not fall for the 8,000 hertz polling rate gimmick. Marketing departments love big numbers, right? 8,000 sounds way better than 1,000. But the reality is, for basically everyone, it offers zero real benefit. In fact, on older CPUs, it can actually hurt your game's performance and cause stutters. Just stick to 2,000 or maybe 4,000 hertz. That is the real sweet spot. So the big takeaway here is simple. You can get 100% of the performance out of this keyboard without any of the software bloat, just by using that onboard memory. It's truly the best of both worlds. You get all the power with none of the performance hit on your PC. Okay, so we've been through the hardware, the magic switches, and the beastly software, so now we get to the final verdict, the big question. Is this keyboard actually the right choice for you? Let's put it all together and figure it out. Now, this chart is super interesting because it shows you exactly where the K70 Max fits in. If you compare it to the Wooting 60HE, the big difference is you get a full-size keyboard and a way more premium aluminum build. Then if you look at its main competitor, the SteelSeries Apex Pro, the build quality isn't even a contest. The Apex Pro just feels kind of cheap and plasticky next to this thing. But what's the catch? Well, look at that software row. The K70 Max's software is way more powerful, but it's also way more complicated. So before you go out and buy this, you need to ask yourself 3 really important questions. First, are you a serious competitive gamer who also needs a full keyboard with a numpad for work or school? Second, are you honestly willing to spend the time learning some complex software to get the most out of it? And third, and this one is absolutely crucial, did you check the box for a version 2 sticker? You have to do this to make sure you're not getting one of the early models with those known hardware bugs. So to sum it all up, this keyboard is a specialized tool. Let me be clear, if you're a casual gamer who mostly plays single-player story games, please do not buy this keyboard. It is complete overkill. But if you are a serious competitive player who needs that top-tier gaming speed and a full-size layout for everything else you do, then yeah, this is pretty much the best all-in-one option on the market right now. Okay, we're in the home stretch. Let's do a quick final summary just to make sure the most important takeaways from all this really stick with you. If you remember nothing else, remember these 3 things. Number 1, unlock its power. Use iCUE to set everything up, then save it to the keyboard and ditch the software. Number 2, check the hardware. It's a premium build, but you have to look for that version 2 sticker to avoid problems. And number 3, know your needs. Be honest, is this top-tier competitive tool right for you, or is it just overkill? All right, time for a quick knowledge check, a little pop quiz. I'm gonna throw 5 questions at you based on everything we just covered. You can even pause and think about them. Ready? Question 1, what is an actuation point and why does it matter on this keyboard? 2, what's that 3-step set it and forget it method all about? 3, what's the biggest reason to get the K70 Max over something like the Wooting 60HE? 4. What's the common mistake people make with the 8000 Hz polling rate? And finally, question 5. What's the most important sticker to look for on the box before you hand over your money? And that really leaves us with one final question to chew on. Magnetic switches are absolutely the future of gaming keyboards. There's no doubt about that. But the real question is your playstyle actually ready to handle all that power? Because this technology offers a huge advantage, but only if you're the type of person who's willing to put in the time to really master it. Thanks for hanging out for this deep dive. We'll